Oh my God!
You want me to show you Twitter?
Bernie is now tweeting about suspending rents and mortgages. You're welcome, motherfuckers. He said an hour ago he tweeted, 3 hours ago he tweeted, I support workers who strike, conduct a sick out, or participate in walk to support collectives out. So that's directly because of this show, and if you don't think it is, you're fucking wrong, because no one else is putting pressure on Bernie Sanders right now in the progressive news space except me. And they're here. And guess what? I'm texting people at the tippy top of his campaign. They usually return my text. They're not doing it today. Guess what they're doing? They're all going, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we're not doing anything. So now they're at least they're tweeting about it. And now they're thinking maybe they should do something. And now I bet they're now, hey, let's talk to actual fucking organizers and see what we can do. I bet they're doing that now. And I implore everybody else who has a progressive YouTube channel right now to do what I'm doing. Do videos that are critical of your fucking progressive leaders and tell them to start doing shit. You're not doing it yet. I'm doing it. I'm leading the way. Fucking follow. I love all you guys. You're going to be on my live shows, and I'll bust your balls if you don't fucking do it now. So fucking do it now. I'm telling everybody, all my friends, I want you to start doing videos that put pressure on Bernie Sanders and AOC and Ro Khanna and Tulsi Gabbard and fucking the squad and Sherrod Brown and Elizabeth Warren to start fucking doing something and get behind a rent strike, because now I finally got Bernie's people to start tweeting about this. Fucking finally, they're talking about the strikes. I covered the strikes. There's a fucking dozen wildcat strikes I studied. They were going on strike Monday. Instacart workers went on strike. Fucking Whole Foods went on yesterday. Bernie didn't fucking mention it until today. Why? Because we're putting pressure on them, and I'm putting it directly on their campaign. And if everyone else in the political fucking progressive blogosphere would do that, we'd get a lot fucking further, and we'd be a lot closer to getting a general strike going. And so I'm imploring all of them to do it now. Stop telling people that Bernie's a hero or that AOC's a hero. They're not. They sold you out. It's okay. Time to move forward. Bernie's speech didn't actually do anything. We're fucking here back again, and I'm imploring them to tell the truth. Now, finally, Bernie's telling people don't vote in Wisconsin. You know why? Because I held their feet to the fire, and so did Michael Tracy, and no one else did. No one else. You know why? Because I dropped a video today that shows fucking his campaign manager telling people to vote in Illinois, Arizona, and Florida, and no one else dropped that video. I fucking dropped it, and I'll do it again. And fuck everyone else. Thank you, by the way, for leaving this lane open, so I'll put the pressure on Bernie Sanders, and now you'll all follow me. Thanks for following me again. You followed me on the first time I wouldn't vote for Hillary. Now nobody will vote for Biden. You followed me on Russiagate. You followed me on Syria. No, you didn't. You're still stupid about that. And now you followed me on Venezuela, and now you're following me on this. I welcome you. I welcome all of you, even the fucking morons. I welcome you. So please keep putting pressure on Bernie. It's obviously working. His Twitter feed reflects my show from today. And every text and DM I sent to his campaign, which none of them were returned today because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And the people who don't return my text the most are the ones who agree with me the most. Do you know how many people inside Bernie's campaign has told me, Jimmy, wait till this is over. I can't wait to come on your show? Do you know how many people have told me that inside of his campaign? Do you? Do you fucking dozens? Do you fucking think that I'm wrong about what I'm doing? When I've been right about every motherfucking thing since I started this show? It doesn't take, and you know why I know I'm right? Because it doesn't take smarts. If this was complicated, I would be like, I don't think I understand it, maybe. It's not complicated. It's so easy, I can fucking understand it. And all it takes is courage. What's more important in life, intelligence or courage? This moment is proving courage is more important because I'm right and I'm actually out in front of everybody else. Why? Because I'm smarter than them? Because I went to their better douchebag ivory tower fucking schools? I did not. Because I outread them? No, they have read more books than me.
Yes.
Guess what? They haven't read the right ones. They haven't read the ones I've read. They haven't read Chris Hedges' books. They haven't read fucking Listen Liberal by Thomas Frank. I'll guarantee you they haven't. And they don't have the courage this show has, because I come from comedy. I'm not trying to get a job at MSNBC. I don't have a contract at MSNBC. I don't work on a show for a guy who has a contract with MSNBC. Really? That's why this show is fucking better than all of them, and why we always lead. Always. Because I don't give a fuck. I'm not trying to fucking get in their club or be invited to their fucking parties. That's why. Because I already have my circle. It's called stand-up comedy. And I'm already accepted. I don't need their acceptance. I have and they all need it, whether they admit it or not, which is why they have MSNBC contracts. That's why. And that's why when they go on there, nobody ever fucking remembers them, and they never get fired because they never say anything worth remembering, because they've never had an original thought in their fucking lives. And that's why this show exists. And I'm going to tell those fucking pussies to start putting pressure on their leaders instead of apologizing for them and doing real journalism. And I'm gonna put pressure on Bernie Sanders from now until the fucking day I die. And I'm going to put pressure on AOC and Ayanna Pressley and fucking Tulsi and every Monroe Khanna and every motherfucker who wants people to vote for them. I'm going to pressure the fuck out of them to stop rolling over for Nancy Pelosi and call her out. And if you want to keep pretending Bernie Sanders got something into that stimulus bill when he didn't, then thank you for the viewers. Go watch those people if you want to be lied to about Bernie Sanders. Go watch them. If you think there's heroes involved in the stimulus bill that are progressive, go watch the shows that tell you there's heroes, because there aren't any. Go watch them. But I'm going to fucking tell you the truth. And I'm going to get something done. I just got the fucking Bernie Sanders to fucking do something. He stopped. God fucking damn it. It's not that hard. Do you see how not hard it is? Do you see how everybody in his campaign is afraid of my text today? Do you see how it's not that hard?
Jimmy.
So the progressive media is not supposed to be a fucking fan club for our elected officials.
No kidding.
The progressive media is supposed to lead them because we're supposed to lead, and they'll follow because they're weak. At best, they're feckless. At worst, they're venal. And that's why we have to make them fear us. And that's fucking Chris Hedges. You got to make them fear you. And I'm done fucking sucking up to Bernie Sanders. And that motherfucker better fear us. And he better stand up and vote against shit. And if he's more afraid of getting pissed on by the media, he better be more afraid of getting pissed on by his fucking followers. Because the fucking campaign's over, and the time to get shit done is now. Organize workers, organize a rent strike, organize a mortgage strike, and do it fucking now. And he's starting to come around on his fucking timeline, and if everybody else would do it, we would get it there faster. Because guess what they were doing up until today? Fucking nothing. They're giving me emails telling me all the shit they got in the bill. Shame on you! You should have been motivating people to get into action immediately after they pass this bill. Fucking shame on you, Bernie, for sending fucking emails to my house. That's a little dramatic.
Where my family sleeps.
Where my children play with their toys.
Do it again. Do the line. Do the line.
I can't.
Come on.
When my wife sleeps and my children play with their toys. So it's time to start putting pressure on Bernie Sanders and all the pussies who are too afraid to come on my show, because I'm going to ask them a question that they never had an answer for. Because I'm going to ask them a question that they could never square a circle for. Like, how do you say you're for a revolution and then you're actually for incrementalism? Hey, in 1995, you said we have to have a rainbow coalition and it has to happen outside the Democratic Party. What the fuck changed? How come you can't square that circle? You can't fucking answer a question in Jimmy Dore. Guess what else you can't do? You can't beat a demented walking death rattle in a debate. That's what he got prepared for, to lose to Joe Biden, because he couldn't even answer a question from a fucking shithead like me who's high. That's how big of a pussy of a campaign they ran. And now it's time to stop being a pussy, and it's time to start grabbing power and using your leverage of your following to get shit for us right fucking now. Because they got everything. You motherfucker. Start calling out Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer for negotiating a horrible bill instead of standing on the floor and yelling at Republicans, because it's easy and it's cowardly.
It's time for a revolution.
It's time for a fucking revolution, which starts with a strike. A rent strike, a mortgage strike,
That's a
student loan strike, a credit card strike. What are you fucking doing? And guess what? And guess what I'm saying to... Guess what, Bernie? And you've got nothing to lose, because you already lost the fucking race. You got nothing to lose. And we've got nothing to lose, because we already lost the country. We lost the election. We lost to Trump. We lost to Neera Tanden. We lost to Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Tom Perez and Wall Street, because you wouldn't fucking run a campaign that was going to beat them. And that's not me saying that. That's people at the top of your campaign that said that. And so now it's time for every motherfucker who has a goddamn voice and a platform to start calling these motherfuckers out for selling you out and doing nothing. And continuing to do nothing. My email in... my... And so you're welcome. Go to the other screen, please. And so take a look at this. You're welcome. All those 25,000 people who liked it. Oh, now, finally? Finally, now? You are surprised like, Bernie, what the fuck? Where were you 3 days? Today's April 1st. Why are you getting behind this? We need to suspend rent? Go back to that, please. We need to? How about you call for a rent strike, you motherfucker, and you tag Wall Street, and you tell them, hey, guess what? My supporters aren't fucking paying their rent this fucking month. My supporters aren't paying their mortgages or their credit card bills this fucking month. Until you reconvene Congress and we get Medicare for all, because we're going to have 30% unemployment, which means 50% of the country isn't going to have health insurance. And so we got to get ahead of that instead of fucking reacting like I always do because I'm a shitty leader. So I'm telling you how to lead. You need to demand Medicare for all now, you fucking motherfucker, and you need the grocery strikers to do it. No excuses. Do it now. Every delay is more people dead. Anyone delaying Medicare for all now is a murderer. That's what you have to say, Bernie. Anyone delaying Medicare for all now is a murderer, and I'm calling on all my followers not to pay their rent, their mortgage, their credit card bills, or their student loans, or go to work at a grocery store until we convene Congress and get Medicare for all, or promise to do so within the week. We do rolling strikes. Nobody go to work until noon. And then we can reconvene Congress and we get this done. And if they don't, we do no more. We do more. That's what a leader does.
I don't know.
Bernie's not going to fucking do it.
Can I say this, Jimmy? Congress doesn't come back until April 20th.
Motherfuckers.
What the fuck if we do the rolling strikes till April 20th? They're on strike, aren't they?
And and by the way, Nancy Pelosi did that by design. And guess who didn't call out Nancy Pelosi? AOC, Tulsi Gabbard, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Ro Khanna. None of them called Nancy Pelosi out for this. You know why? Because they're company men. They all work for the company and they all bend the knee, no matter what you fucking think. And so now is the time to start pressuring fucking AOC and fucking and Ro Khanna and Ilhan Omar and all of the squad and anybody you think is a progressive, and also pressure fucking Rand Paul if you're a fucking libertarian and you watch this fucking show. Pressure him. And fucking you support Thomas Massey. This pandemic is revealing who is for real and who is not. And guess what? They're all not for real. You either work for the people or you're the enemy of the people at a moment like this. Now is the time. And so so you're welcome. I got Bernie at least fucking acknowledging they're striking. And now he supports them. And now he's talking about rent and evictions. Now he's talking, but he's, again, there's not a solution in sight on his Twitter feed. Not a solution in sight, is there, Bernie? What you're doing is complaining, which raises people's fucking anxiety level. And if you don't have a solution, you just made people nervous. What is your fucking solution, Bernie? You don't have one. Hey, remember when Bernie said that he was Wall Street's biggest nightmare? Remember that? I do. Now's the time to prove it. You want to know what scared the shit out of Wall Street, Bernie? If you said everybody who fucking likes me and votes for me, don't pay your rent, don't pay your mortgage, don't pay your credit card bill, and don't pay your student loan. Guess what? That would really scare Wall Street. And if you really mean it, you'll do that. And if you don't do that, we're moving on to another leader because you already lost this presidential race because you already forfeited it on fucking purpose because you wouldn't critique Joe Biden's vice presidential record because you don't have the guts to tell people Obama gave us fucking Trump. And that's why you lost. And you wouldn't even out-debate a guy who's a walking demented death rattle. You forfeited this. You're not willing to do what it takes to get power. And now I'm pressuring you to do the right thing now. You lost the presidential primary. Now try not to lose a movement. And shame on everybody else who's fucking licking his balls and not pressuring him. They're fucking gutless. They all grew up in cul-de-sacs and they don't have a fucking a political instinct worth of shit.
Oh, come on, Jimmy. Bernie told people not to go vote
Fuck
on the
off.
17th. Come on. He was good.
You're so lame. You're so fucking lame.
Jimmy, why are you so hard on Bernie?
I'm not letting up. Because I'm not letting up. So let's see what his next tweet is. Maybe his next tweet he'll actually mention me. Maybe he'll tag. Hey, it's like, hey Jimmy, I fucking heard it. All right, you're right. We're falling down on the job. I've got too many people from the Center for American Progress inside my own campaign. You know I pick shitty people. Yeah, I do know that. This campaign is full of shitty people. Some good people, some really super shitty people. Right from Narragansett Center for American Progress. Bet you didn't know that. I bet nobody else ever told you that on a progressive news show, did they? Why is it I'm the only one fucking telling you that? He hired saboteurs polishing their resumes inside his campaign right now. Saboteurs are inside his campaign right now. Why am I the only one telling you that? Again, thanks for the lane. This is going to be a real funny time right now, this pandemic. This is going to be that separates the men from the boys and the real news shows from the sycophantist ball lickers. And there's plenty of them.
Oh, they're out there.
And by the way, one last thing to Bernie Sanders. If you're the leader of this country that you pretend to be, wouldn't now be the time for you to fucking show it? Not act like a backbencher in the Senate, but actually step up and lead. You know how everyone's saying Andrew Cuomo's leading right now? You know, something like that. You know, actually have a solution to the problems where the fucking establishment actually are shitting their pants over you because you're going to shut down Amazon, or you're going to shut down fucking Ralph's Delivery, or you're going to fucking shut down UPS Drive, or you're going to fucking shut down a rent strike, or you're going to shut down a mortgage payment or a credit card payment to fucking a quarter of the country who has credit card debt. You're going to do something like that? Because if you don't, you're not a leader. Because that's what leaders do right now. In this time, we're at war right now. There's a storage space in Pasadena that the Democrats rent. It's where they keep their powder dry.
I don't get
It's
that.
it's double sealed.
I don't know.
16-inch walls. That powder is so fucking dry. It's got flaky skin. That's how dry that powder is. And the Democrats are never going to use it because they work for the same guy, you stupid fucking idiot. And Bernie takes his cue from Chuck Schumer, and AOC takes their cue from Nancy Pelosi. And guess who they work for? They work for the machine. And now is the time. Now is the time. Act like a president. Organize people, get it done. You're letting
Yeah, because he
you're
fucked
letting,
up on March 15th,
you're letting
Jimmy.
a pothead.
It's now.
You're letting a pothead in his garage lead your campaign right now. It's pathetic. Actually, that's a good thing. Because the fucking idiots who grew up in cul-de-sacs who you fucking invited into your campaign lost your campaign. It's a colossal failure. Your campaign's one of the biggest failures in the history of politics, in case you didn't know it. And it's because you brought in those stupid motherfuckers. And at this moment, you can still come out a leader. You can still come out a leader right now. But you guys know he won't. But so that's why I'm calling on everyone else to put pressure on them. Okay. Okay, there's my rant. There you go. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?